What is going on, guys? This is the MMA Complex. My name is Josh.
And I'm James.
We're back, brand new episode. It is, what's today? May 1st, Wednesday. Damn, already May.
I know.
April's over.
That's crazy. It seems like it's getting, each month it's going by faster and faster.
It is, man. It is. The weekend was great. Coming off of Bellator 220. Avengers. Game of Thrones. And a bunch of other stuff, man.
Yeah.
A wedding for you.
Shotgun
wedding for you. But yeah, no, it's back. Glad to be back. We took last week off, scheduling purposes. We just took last week off. It was a really busy week for all of us, for us both. But overall, it's a good weekend. So you had a wedding to go to. Unfortunately, you weren't able to go with us to Bellator,
Mm-hmm.
but we held it down for.
Yeah, thank you.
For
Appreciate
us.
that. I wish I was there, man. Compared to the shithole that I was in, but
Yeah, you could give a brief summary of your wedding experience, your weekend experience.
let's see. And keep. I have to watch my words because.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Or we can skip that.
Yeah.
Let's skip that because the missus listens.
I want to get in trouble.
Okay, we go right into Avengers. We were just talking about Avengers.
I tell you why, right? Because she won't see Terrace House because of the conversation we had about Lauren.
Oh, really?
That she's not gonna. She doesn't want to watch it because of that.
Hey, don't put too much stock into it, even though she is have you seen her blonde hair?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm gonna get you in trouble, dude. See, my missus, she doesn't listen to she doesn't listen to the show. She doesn't. She just asks, "How did it go?" That's about it.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Yeah,
mine gets bored and just plays it in the background.
but Sandra don't even put any too much stock into this. This is just banter. It's just chit chat. It's entertainment. It's not even like
It's all fake. It's all fake news.
Yeah, it's all fake news. We don't really feel this way.
Yeah, I don't like Lauren.
I don't like Lauren at all, especially with blonde hair. Yeah, no, okay, so you saw Avengers. We were just talking about Avengers. So spoiler alert, if you guys haven't watched Avengers, I don't think we're going to get too deep into it because we just had like a half hour, almost an hour conversation about it. We'll just briefly touch on it. But overall, Avengers, I thought that was, for me, and we talked about this originally. I don't even know where I want to get off on this, but we were talking about, we heard Wei and John Pollock's reactions to it, and I think I had a similar reaction to it. You felt they could have used a little bit more action, right?
I just felt like I wish that the fight scene was a bit longer.
Yeah,
and I felt like it could have been a 2-hour, 20-minute movie instead of a 2-hour and 49-minute movie. Yeah.
So we're not going to get too far into it because we exhausted ourselves already by talking about it. But from this point on, what's your predictions for the Avengers and the Marvel Universe going forward? What do you think?
I think this was a season finale for the Avengers franchise. I think that they're going to take a long break before we see the Avengers assemble again.
Yeah.
I think they're going to focus on the next set of movies for their new phase. I think phase 4 is what it is, starting with Spider-Man in July. And I think, to be honest, I think it's going to be the surviving characters living post Infinity War and how they deal with the aftermath of it all. And I think it's not going to be like the first 22 movies where they're all connected somehow. I think they're going to have their own separate movies without any tie-in. And at some point, when
they'll start to tie in,
they'll attach them again, and then we'll have a new Thanos villain.
Yeah, I think so too. I think for me, my prediction is that it was kind of a season finale. It's the end of the Avengers as we know it. Spoiler alert: Captain America retires, goes off into the sunset. Mm-hmm. Falcon takes over as Captain America. Iron Man sacrifices himself, passes away. A great send off for Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
Mm-hmm.
All the main characters kind of good send off. Scarlet Witch, not the greatest send off for her. It looks like she did kind of die permanently in the movie. But she does have an origin. I think
she comes out looking like a leader. I think after Infinity War, she was the person who kind of held it together for the rest of the team.
Yeah, because even after they killed Thanos in the beginning, you see her there. She's the one that controlling the meeting.
Yeah,
with,
she kind of takes over as a leader.
She held it down while
and
people were
before that, she was just really a side character.
Yeah,
she had more responsibility, and I think
she grew into her responsibility.
They made her a big deal in this movie.
They did, and her sacrifice it was not without it was kind of honored in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought everybody had great moments. From the side characters, Scarlet Witch had a great moment with her fighting Thanos. I thought that was pretty cool.
Even Hawkeye
who was probably one of the lesser utilized characters, had a great.
He looked like a badass.
He looked a badass in this movie. His opening scene with his family disappearing was probably the most. It was like it set the tone for the movie. It was like, oh shit's gonna go down. I thought everybody had great moments. Even I know Captain Marvel wasn't utilized as much as I think people thought she was going to be used. But I like the way she came in. I thought that was pretty cool because they were shooting into the clouds and you kind of knew it was her. But then she goes like straight through the big ship and she blows
That's my only grime is that like she comes and helps them out conveniently. Right
at the end.
Nebula and Tony Stark are stuck in space and she happens to appear and takes the ship back to Earth.
It's almost like she always shows up like at the last minute.
Yeah, because I mean, she says that she has other universes to protect, but I mean, is she in or out? It's almost like she has one foot out the door and one in. Yeah, and it's like when they do need her, like how are they going to contact her?
Yeah, I thought when they did have her in the movie and her scenes, they did stand out. You know what I mean? Like she showed up when Thanos was fighting for the glove. And she did take a punch from Thanos and really didn't even like get phased. And I think that she ended up getting just kind of tossed by him. But it was in that scramble of where then Tony Stark grabs the stones and then.
I think from all the characters that Marvel brought in for the saga, I think Captain Marvel was at least, I want to say important, but I put her character at the bottom of the barrel just because.
Yeah.
We hardly even see her.
You hardly see her. She's
She debuted right after Infinity War, so
yeah. Where I think they're going to head in a direction is a new team of Avengers. I think everybody is some old ones, some new characters, and I think it's a lot of familiar people that the casual fans and us will gravitate towards. A new direction with the Falcon as Captain America and. I think it's a good team as they have it right now, but I think they're going to head further into space. That's my prediction. That's with Captain Marvel, Spider-Man. You have the Guardians of the Galaxy is already scheduled. You have the Eternals movie, which I'm excited for. It's more an obscure series, but they kind of tied it in with Thor Ragnarok. I think they're heading further.
A-Force.
Yeah, A-Force. They kind of like showed a little bit of that brief with all the women assembling in the battle. All you just need is really She-Hulk or something like that,
I just think that with this new crop of characters, I don't see the franchise being as successful as the previous one.
Yeah, no, they need some big name kind of actors to kind of like.
Just because people don't like change.
People don't like change, and Robert Downey Jr. is going to leave a big hole, So, and you have Scarlett Johansson leaving, you have Captain America, Chris Evans leaving. So, those are big shoes to fill. I think what's his name, and I forgot the actor's name, something McKee, who was Falcon. He's not a big enough star to hold down Captain America's position. So, they need a couple of big name actors in there, but I think they're heading further into space. I wouldn't be surprised if you have like a Galactus as the next big kind of like
he villain. Should be the next villain because he is the most powerful villain.
Yeah,
I think he's more powerful than Thanos for sure.
Yeah, so since they have a Captain Marvel there, they have the Guardians of the Galaxy coming out. They even were teasing like a Nova movie, the Eternals movie. It looks like they're heading further out into that, and now that they have Fantastic Four and the X-Men, they could probably go into more space and like all these like pretty. So I think. I'm excited for it. People are thinking, "Oh, so they're not going to make any more movies?" I'm like, "No, this is just this is a break and a rebuilding."
Yeah, it's kind of like your TV show has a season finale and they take the summer off.
Yeah,
it's probably gonna be a longer break than the summer break.
Yeah, and I think this summer, I predict this summer, like at Comic-Con, I think because Marvel's going to be at Comic-Con, that they're going to kind of showcase what they got coming out next.
Yeah, I think they need to establish
Because they haven't said
new
anything.
characters before they make a new Avengers movie. Obviously,
Yeah, and they haven't said anything of what the next phase is really going to be.
Just Spider-Man's Spider-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be out this year. Yeah.
So I'm excited for it. I love the movie. I give it an A++, man. The best 1-2 comic book movie of all time. I mean, best 1-2 of all time. Even Batman Begins and Dark Knight.
Yeah, I mean, they cater to casual fans and they definitely cater to the hardcore fans.
Because there was so much in this movie, and the way they piece it together, like, it's just masterful. Like, there was no cheesy moments. It was just like fucking beautiful, man. So I loved it, and great movie. Game of Thrones. I know you're not a big fan, but again, that was a fucking epic episode. And then you had Bellator 220. Bellator 220 over the weekend. Great experience. Drove up there. Held the down, man. It was a fun event. Ended up taking our friend Steve with us. He really enjoyed it. Did it pretty well. With anything I really needed him to help out with, and it was a great event, man. From a lot of controversial decisions, some stoppages, but overall, great event. Now, so we can touch on this. So I don't know. Did you catch any of the highlights of these fights?
Oh, very little.
Very little.
Very little.
So, also over the weekend, I think you had Jacare and.
I didn't even watch that. I totally forgot that was
that was probably, honestly, that's probably going to be the least watched.
Yeah.
ESPN card. But just to go over it real quick. So yeah, Jacare Souza losing. Let me pull up the card. I don't have my computer with me tonight. That was in Florida.
Yeah, that's right. I think Jorge Masvidal was in the audience for that fight. So
we'll go with Bellator first, and then I'll get to the Jacare situation. So yeah, Gaston Bolanos defeating Nathan Stolen by TKO punches. That was a great finish by Gaston. Phil Davis defeating Liam McGeary by TKO strikes. And it was kind of weird because he was about to sink in a choke, and Liam kind of just verbally tapped before he even got his hand in.
That's weird.
What it ended up being was that it was a strike somewhere in the second or the third, end of the third. No, yeah, somewhere in the third or a beginning of the third. He gets hit with a strike, breaks his jaw. Phil Davis breaks his jaw. Even Liam loses a tooth, which no one really noticed in the fight. And so once it went down to the ground, he got a couple more strikes, and he was just holding on in that fight with a broken jaw. X-ray shows crack pretty much down the middle of the bottom.
That's horrible.
So tough Liam McGeary holding down for as long as he could. Phil Davis picking up a much needed win. Benson Henderson defeating Adam Piccolotti, split decision, controversial in terms of a lot of people felt like Adam Piccolotti did enough to win, putting Benson Henderson in some dangerous submissions. Benson Henderson I think for me, and it was talked about in the post fight, is that Benson feels more comfortable now. I think he's gotten past that. I'm coming in and everybody, on enemy territory.
Down, yeah.
Now it feels like he's coming into these fights and people know they're into it, and his presence, I think, can defeat certain fighters before he even gets in there. Like they're fighting Benson. He's more comfortable now. He's not performing top level.
I wonder if people still care though.
I don't know if they still care. You know what I mean? But I think he's on his way to making them care. So
he needs to pull the trigger a little more when he fights.
Yeah, but he's winning. He's picking up wins, and
which is important.
He's looking more comfortable, and that's what we didn't see early on. That's why I noticed. Alima McFarland picking up a win over Veda Arteaga. Both of them former guests on the show. TKO stoppage. It was a vicious elbow in the guard by Alima, slicing open Veda right across on the forehead. almost exposing her skull. Like it was a bad cut. And Alima at the end was kind of like willing to give Vita another shot at it because she felt like she didn't, like a doctor stoppage is not a way she wants to win. But for me, I thought her ground and her grappling were great, showcased great. Her striking was, Vita's more of a brawler, so she had some trouble there. But Alima it was all the ground for Alima, and there was no stopping that for Vita.
I mean, that's part of the game. I mean,
yeah, and it's part of the game. You planned. It was a purposely planned elbow, which landed and it stopped the fight.
I mean, like you do it to do damage, and you have a doctor there to protect the fighter from obviously harming herself even more. So it's part of the game.
Yeah. So I even had a chance to talk to her after the fight, and I told her like, hey, if you don't want to, for me, I felt that there was no reason for her to even like offer the rematch. You purposely planned that elbow. It landed. It cut her open. You won. That's it.
I agree.
And then you have Rory MacDonald versus John Fitch. Now this is very controversial. Not so for those in attendance. It was all John Fitch. Those on TV, from what I hear, felt like it was either for Rory or a draw. It was a very controversial decision. I think it seemed perceived to be that John Fitch had the upper hand in almost all the rounds. He held down and put Rory MacDonald in some dangerous positions and some, and he Fitched him basically. He pulled it off his game plan and he put him in where he wanted him to be, and it looked like he was well on his way to advancing in the tournament, and it ended up being a draw, much to the surprise, especially those in attendance. But it's definitely one of those fights that I need to go back and rewatch and kind of get an idea, because a draw is, you don't see it too often. Most of the time, it's a toss up. So,
yeah, I mean, and I think this is where Bellator kind of dropped the ball. I mean, by having this as part of their welterweight Grand Prix, because if the champion loses his title, if Roy loses his title, that belt gets passed on, and if the next guy from the tournament loses, so it kind of doesn't make sense. It should be
the winner.
It should be like the video game. Like it should be Roy MacDonald is the boss that you face at the end of the tournament.
Yeah, or even like how
because the Grand Prix, you knew coming in that tournament, the winner from that tournament is getting that vacant heavyweight title. Yeah. With this one, it should be John Fitch. I mean, Rory MacDonald is your boss, the last guy of the game, and your reward is a fight with the champion, not the champion fighting with that. It's pretty much it's going to be him defending his title throughout the whole thing. Yeah, it doesn't. It kind of loses.
I guess it's the way to give him fights during that time. I mean, that's the only thing I could see why. Yeah, it's another big name.
Yeah, I mean, that bout becomes a hot potato if he loses,
and he nearly lost. And he even alluded to after the fact that he's not sure if he even has the fire in him to compete.
Yeah, and having a champion say that is not a good thing.
Yeah, and John Fitch is like, I was banking on this fight as being a like indicator if I'm going to continue my career. So you have both fighters possibly not continuing the careers, but I think Rory ended up clarifying some of his comments and saying that he's actually still interested in continuing in the tournament. Fitch, it's only if he has an attractive matchup that he's kind of like weighing his options, and he looks like he said it could possibly be his last fight. Each fight is possibly his last fight, he said. And at 41 years old, but he looked great. He looked in shape, and he hasn't slowed down at all, man. He just hasn't.
Did you read what did you hear what Chandler said?
No.
He said here, I put it up because he comes out to be an asshole. He looks like he looks like a complete asshole by saying this. So this is what Chandler said in response to Rory MacDonald saying that he doesn't have the fire anymore. He says, "Unlike Rory MacDonald, I talk to my God every day, and he's completely fine with me beating the hell out of people." I mean, what an asshole! First of all, they're in two different weight classes. No one even brought you up, Chandler. You just shut up. And he just comes out to be a complete asshole.
Yeah,
like
it's almost like it's unnecessary to even make a comment like that, and you're calling into question like Rory's faith and his heart.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if a fighter feels that way, then that's his prerogative to feel that way.
It's jerkish. It's asshole-ish.
What an ass! When I read that, I was like, what an asshole.
It is.
He got a lot of heat from it too, so I'm glad.
With Rory, it could be, he's got one kid and another one on the way.
That's I mean, like you can probably relate to that more than anybody.
It's distracting, and it takes it. You don't want to it's fighting ends up, stuff. It's hard to keep other things as
Life
a priority.
Happens, yeah,
where that becomes your main priority. And you want to be there. So I get that. Now, him and God and all that, that's his own thing. He obviously has become more religious as time has gone on. Changed his theme song, which I didn't really care for. It's more of a religious theme song now, which is like, fuck, man, you got a really good one.
That's what happens. We put God in the
picture. So we're not really religious at all, but I get it, respect it. Now
his own,
he's been in the game for a long time, even in amateurs as a young kid. He's been through wars. He's what, 20? He's only 29. He's been fighting well before he was like maybe at least around 17, 16, 17 in the amateurs, and then the pros at like 19. So it's like he's been in for a long time, and probably in more wars than I would say Chandler has. Been tested more than I would say that, and has had a stellar career, top of the division over at UFC, champion over at Bellator. He can call it a day and do a lot of stuff. Work in the business, maybe do some church stuff, whatever he plans to do, he still make money. But he still wants to compete. But only, I would say, just for his own safety, compete if you really have it in you, because you can't half-ass it in fighting.
No, I mean, that's what I was going to say. I mean, bring up is that comment kind of reminds me of what happened with Ronda Rousey when she made that comment. I mean, we all know that I'd say 50 to 90% of this game is mental, and if your heart or your head isn't in the game, it's a dangerous game to play. Like you can get burned and you can get knocked out, and it's not very smart. So to echo what you said, if his head is not in the game, he should get out, because it's a dangerous game. And we saw what happened with Ronda Rousey when she had that same comment. Not the same thing, but almost exactly the same thing. Yeah. And she got knocked out, and she never recovered from that knockout.
Yeah.
So he should really sit down and consider, I mean, is it really worth it? He's been champion. He's fought for the two best organizations in MMA right now, and he has a beautiful girlfriend or wife or whoever she is, and 2 kids. I mean, just exit. And I'm sure he has a career in sports broadcasting. He can work for Bellator or work somewhere in Canada for TSN as a MMA analyst or something.
Definitely could.
Yeah.
Definitely could. Which that would be nice for him to do, at 30, retire at 30, champ.
Yeah.
2 kids, money in the bank, popularity. People know who you are. Respectable career.
Just echo what his teammate GSP did.
Yeah, exactly. And he could do a lot. He's a well-spoken individual. And
people respect him.
And people respect him. He could do a lot in the sport or outside of the sport.
Yeah, for sure.
So you had so that was a great event. Overall, San Jose's cool. Drive back was great. Hanging out with Garrett Davies. Shout out to him. And all the people over at
Bellator.
in our Bellator and our media, Dan, CJ, all them, they're great over at Bellator. You have Drake Riggs, another one of our fellow journalists.
Yeah,
that's I was speaking with for a good length of time. Great guy. Shout out to Drake. But overall, let's get to the ESPN. So ESPN Plus 8, Jacare Hermansson had a card over the weekend. That was in Florida. Diego Lima picking up a win. Angela Hill picking up a win. Jim Miller picking up a win. Gilbert Burns, Carlos Esparza picking up wins.
It's like all the fighters that you don't hear about fought on this card.
Yeah, Arlovsky losing, Ben Saunders losing, Takashi Sato winning. Roosevelt Roberts kicking off the main card. Thomas Guilford, not familiar with those guys. Corey Sanhagen picking up a win over John Lineker. Glover Teixeira beating Ian Cutelaba. Mike Perry defeating Alex Oliveira, that was a great fight. I caught that one. I caught the Glover one. Greg Hardy defeating Dmitry Salmanov TKO punches in the co-main event. And Jake Hermansson defeating Jacare Souza by decision. And just kind of, it was a back and forth with him and Jacare, and he held his own, man. He was a great addition to the middleweight title picture. Big guy, well-rounded skills, very active, great gas tank, well-spoken. So it's somebody to look out for in that division.
Yeah, I mean, he took the opportunity and he made the best of it.
He did,
and,
man. A late, short notice fight.
Yeah, and he put himself on the map. I mean, I don't see him getting a title shot anytime soon, but he beat what a lot of people felt like he is the next contender for that middleweight championship belt. So he made a name out of himself. So
yeah,
kudos to him.
In terms of Jacare, it definitely hurts his title contention picture. Possibilities and options. Hermansson's thrown right in there. He could probably fight someone like Chris Weidman. That'd be a great fight for him.
Yeah.
Another big name, so he's right up there, man. That was a great event. I didn't catch too much of it because obviously Bellator was at the same time, so
yeah,
that happened over the weekend. Yeah, and also this weekend you had the news about Brock Lesnar. Actually, was it today or yesterday?
I believe it was
last night, maybe.
Last night, maybe.
I don't remember, but it was either probably today or yesterday. Brock Lesnar picking up, retiring basically, and that's it, man. So they scheduled Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic
rematch. Yeah, yeah. Brock Lesnar he's a worker. He comes from that pro wrestling world.
Yeah,
and we've seen Brock do this in the past, where he kind of like he plays both the WWE and the UFC to get that pot of gold. The WWE is going to go to Saudi Arabia pretty soon, I think, in the next few months. So I'm sure Vince throwing a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
I think Brock's going to, from day one, I've always felt like this fight, it was more a tease than an actual thing. I think Brock is doing what he's always done, and that's kind of like, tease both parties. I don't think Brock is going to retire. I think he's going to do his WWE thing, and then he'll come back when he wants to come back. But I felt bad for DC.
I do,
because DC never really pushed the UFC for this fight. The UFC kind of dangled this carrot in front of DC and said, do you want to fight Brock? And of course, you want to fight Brock. It's the easiest fight for DC. We can make the most amount of money for it, and so I think he was kind of tempted by the UFC to do this fight, and now that fight's off.
And avoided his retirement, his planned retirement. He pushed that back.
Yeah, to push that back, and he fought that Derek Lewis fight.
Yeah,
and it was all set up for him to fight this big money fight, and that carrot was taken away from him. And in all honesty, I think the one fight that will bring back Brock isn't DC. It's John Jones. John Jones called him out. When he defeated, I forget who he defeated, but he caught up Brock. Brock wants that fight. I think it was UFC 200, I believe. No, I don't remember. But anyways, Brock wants that fight, and I think that's the only fight he'll come back for. I think rematching a guy that you knocked out and commissioned, in devastating fashion. I think training for that fight. I think DC's heart won't probably be into it. Because why fight a guy that you beat convincingly,
Yeah.
There isn't any really reward for DC to fight Stipe again.
I think it's a dangerous fight for him, too.
Yeah, and I think that it's a fight where he's not going to be pretty pumped up. He's fighting a guy that's pretty boring. But I think this time around, Stipe has a chip on his shoulder, and it might make the build-up a little bit more interesting.
The build-up will be good.
Better than the first.
It will be better than first. A lot more build-up. I think it's a dangerous fight for Cormier. I do feel bad for him. Even though, if he were to just retire, he had surgery. That Derek Lewis fight wasn't that long ago, so he can be like, oh, I gave him a certain period of time. The fight didn't come to fruition. All right, I'm calling it a day. See you guys. Mm-hmm. I think that would have been his best case situation. I think I don't see an upside for him. Why? So it's like you could have just retired, called it a day. You had your surgery. You gave Brock time to do his thing. It didn't come about. You pushed your retirement a little further back. You didn't only lost maybe another month or so, and then call it a day. There you go. Now he ends up having a scheduled fight with Stipe. Kudos to him for giving Stipe the rematch. But I think at heavyweight, it's a dangerous fight for him, especially with Stipe. Stipe is a big guy. I know he knocked him out quick, but Stipe, I think, will come back learning from that.
Mm-hmm.
And Stipe did not look bad in the first fight. I mean, even though it didn't last long, Cormier looked kind of bloated and a little sluggish. It just so happened to really land that perfect shot on Stipe's chin and send him crashing down and kind of.
Stipe is known to be so good when it comes to defense.
Yeah, so I mean, but Stipe could put a really good offense, and he took some Ngannou shots, so the guy can take a shot. I think he just wasn't expecting it, and they found a hole in his game. I think it's a dangerous fight for Cormier. I don't think it's going to be just a walk in the park like it was. Some people think it was for the last one, but I don't see an upside for it. And then okay, you do that, you rematch. Let's say you hope, you say you win. Where do you go from there? Do you call it a day? Do you take John Jones? That's it. What do you do?
I think he retires, but I think the best thing about this fight is they're targeting August 17th or something like that for in Anaheim.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. It's over here. Let's go.
Where we go? Probably not.
Probably not going to get credentialed, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bummer.
That's a different story for a different day.
I just don't see a whole lot of upside other than, the honor code and, the fighter to fighter honor code of just giving him the rematch. That's basically the only.
Dana did something like he must have thrown
a bunch of money at him. Hey, just do this fight for me. I apologize. I didn't come to win. Here's an extra big purse.
Sorry for teasing you.
That card's not going to do well in terms of on pay-per-view unless they stack it, which I'm hoping they do stack it.
They're gonna
need it. They're gonna need to stack it. It's LA-ish area, so they're gonna stack it.
Yeah.
And then as for Brock, the WWE probably made. Obviously, you have a feeling that they made him the better deal.
Yeah.
I'm sure his body wasn't really reacting the way he wanted to under this USADA program. And they were gonna be watching him like a hawk. So why put yourself to that danger?
Why even go to MMA? He should just juice the fuck up. Stay in pro wrestling and have that physique and be intimidating there.
And Cormier is not going to be. Brock's going to be the A side. You know what I mean? He's going to bring all the eyes in. If it was John Jones, I could see that being a back. That's a build up for both guys. They're just going to come in and just the big names of both sports, and they're just going to talk a lot of shit, and it's going to be a massive event. That will suck for DC if Jones gets the Brock fight.
Yeah. That'd be like the ultimate.
That will be the last slap in the face to DC.
That's him just saying, "I win again."
I took your money fight too.
I took your money fight. I know. I took your title.
I took your title. I took your money fight.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's like
I knocked you out.
He won the battle and the war.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. If Brock comes back for Jones.
Hey, Brock said he'll only come back for one guy, and it's John Jones. So
I see that. That's definitely a possibility.
That's why I don't believe this whole I'm retiring bit. I think
I think he's gonna hold out for yeah. That's a way bigger fight for him.
He'll come back when the time is right.
It's gonna be Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That's a slap in the face for DC. But yeah, I don't see an upside for it. It's just like whatever. It's a whatever fight. It's an interesting fight. I would like to see it, but no one's really clamoring for it. It's more of just all right, give Stipe it. He deserves it type of thing. Whatever.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's get into some fight picks. We have a fight this weekend. So One Championship has an event this Friday. You have Invicta has an event, Fight Pass, and then for One Championship is probably their app, Facebook, Twitter. You have Access TV, LFA, DAZN has Bellator in Europe too, Primus versus Wild, and then you have UFC on ESPN+9. That is on May 4th. It's Iaquinta versus Cowboy. It's going to be a great fight right there. Undercard is decent. Not a whole lot going on in the undercard. Walt Harris on the card. Cub Swanson versus Shane Burgos. Co-main event. Derek Brunson, Elias Theodorou.
Oof.
Um,
That's a bad card.
it is, man. Iaquinta versus Don Cerrone in the main event.
Let's talk about that one, yeah.
This is at 155.
Yeah.
Okay. This is in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. So predictions.
I'm picking Al. Raging Al.
Regional. I'm gonna go with Regional too. I think he's savvy enough on the feet to avoid any danger. He comes out from the opening bell. He has gas tank, and he's got that wrestling.
Mm-hmm. And he's a black belt in Sarah Jiu-Jitsu, so
yeah. And I mean, Cowboy's on a roll. He's freaking a killer. You can't really count Cowboy out. He with the pace that Iaquinta sets, I can see Cowboy being able to find his groove at some point.
Yeah, it just seems like Al gets stronger throughout the rounds.
Yeah, and so does Cowboy.
Yeah,
but the best way to beat Cowboy is to get him early. Al's not that
pressure fight him.
Yeah, and really box him and knock him out or do something. Al will probably do that, but I see Al being a little more calculated, which will probably be in Cowboy's favor.
Yeah, just don't give Cowboy space. Is what.
You can't give Cowboy space. Cowboy, who knows? We'll see how this goes. This is gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be
it's a good fight.
It's a really really good fight.
It's a close fight. I just pick Al because I seen Al go all 5 rounds with Khabib in a very short notice fight.
Him against Lee afterwards was pretty dominant.
I think he has a better momentum going to this fight than Cowboy does.
Yeah. Style for me is style and mentality and the thinking and fighter IQ. They're both on a high level, and I'd see probably Al being able to edge it out. But great, you can't count Cowboy out, man.
No,
that guy's sick. So, there you have it. That's this weekend. That's our show. Go to theMMAcomplex.com to catch everything about the MMA Complex. Follow us on social and all that. T-shirts.
Yeah, T-shirts for $15. Can't beat that for a shirt. So visit our site. Also visit us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all under the MMA Complex. Pretty big main event. I'm really excited to watch that fight and break it down with all the news of the week for next week. So until then, enjoy your week and enjoy the fights.